The month of May explodes in Boston Wrestling MWF. Joining us for the first time in studio will be ECW icon New Jack, Saturday, May the 8th, taping episodes of Wrestling Insiders and a special live episode with the Cyber autograph signing. Then Saturday, May the 22nd, Sunday, May the 23rd, the legendary Demolition Axe, the Masked Superstar, one half of the greatest tag team in WWE history, joins us for 2 days of Wrestling Insider tapings in a live Cyber autograph signing with photos already signed by Demolition Smash. It's going to be a month to remember. Head on over to bostonwrestling.com. Pre-order your 8x10 photos now and help keep wrestling legends working.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Mirade.
MJ in the house.
Future WWE Hall of Famer, mind you. Let me tell you this.
I'm not in there yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
But you will be.
Yeah, I will.
You know Sean wants to be the first three-timer.
Three-timer,
yeah.
yes.
There you go. Let me tell you, you enjoy the in-studio shoot interviews 4 times a week. It isn't cheap to put these productions together, folks. We need your
No,
help.
because they got to pay me.
Okay. Coronavirus has killed the nightlife in a lot of ways. We are night owls, Marty and I, but that's a different story for a different time. One way you can help is to check out the great merchandise we have in the Boston Wrestling eBay store. It is perfect for any wrestling man cave or any collection.
That's right. Check it out.
Support Wrestling Insiders and keep wrestling legends working on eBay. Get this WWE NXT TakeOver War Games 2020 11x14 limited edition autograph poster signed by everyone on the event, number 23 of only 100 made. Includes signatures from the Undisputed Era, Johnny Gargano, Damian Priest, Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher, Io Shirai, Tony Storm, Rhea Ripley, Dexter, Loomis, and more. Comes with authentication hologram on the back of the poster. Also comes with mystery autographed 8x10 and an on-air shout-out from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas on Wrestling Insiders at your house. Get it now.
Cheer. Why, hello. I would ask what was on your mind, but I already know. You want to know what has got my beard looking oh so majestic. And I'll tell you, it's sexy as hell beard care. Coconut oil, vitamin E oil, almond oil, both sweet and bitter, shea butter, it's all natural. Yes, JTG has actually come out with a high quality product. So support your boy by going to sahbeardcare.com and take one step closer to becoming sexy as hell. Cheer. Ooh, cheer. You know?
Boston Wrestling Sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE NXT and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to another installment of Wrestling Insider's Current Events. This is Dan Mirade, along with my partner in crime, longtime Boston Wrestling MWF associate, Mr. David Carter, up in beautiful New Hampshire on a gloomy Wednesday afternoon as we sit back, relax, and prepare to review the Tuesday, May 4th edition of WWE NXT. We're getting ready for an even bigger weekend, though. You know that, Dave. As ECW hardcore icon New Jack comes to MWF Studios for the very first time. He'll be taking part in Wrestling Insider in-studio shoot interviews, watch-alongs, and a cyber autograph signing. I spoke with the gentleman today. He's also going to have copies of his autobiography available, so that'll be pretty cool.
Might have to grab one of those.
Well, but I bet it's a very interesting read. You're going to have a chance to get just the book or even get the book signed and personalized if you like. That is Saturday night. For information, pre-order those 8x10s, those books, at bostonwrestling.com. Again, we will be back to have a ton of fun when WWE returns to pay-per-view on Peacock Sunday night, May the 16th? Was I correct?
Yeah, 16th.
Yeah, to try and squeeze every ounce or penny you can get out of that dollar. It's not just Backlash, it's WrestleMania Backlash. Hopefully we're going to have some great in-ring action along with some fun in the prize wheel. I understand there could be a tremendous prize available. I don't want to give away any hints because I don't physically have it in hand. I do not want to disappoint. And again, folks, we mentioned we had a very rough April. We spent a lot of time down in Tampa. We weren't able to put the focus on the computer constantly like we normally do around the clock, which is why I have no life outside of what we do here in Boston Wrestling MWF. The good news is you can join the Boston Wrestling family and make life just a little bit easier on us, where you get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider studio shoots. You get access to our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library. And let me tell you, we have a brand new Iron Sheik DVD coming your way very, very soon, hopefully within the next week. You get some Patreon exclusives, like I just mentioned, along with the knowledge that you, yes, you, are helping keep professional wrestling legends working. You can join the family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Give it a shot. I think you'll love it. Again, patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. As we continue on nightly, 5 nights a week, we have those great original shoots. Tonight, it's Wednesday, so it's Wrestling Insider Special Edition. We are joined for the third time by the man that won the WWE Cruiserweight Classic, TJP, the first Cruiserweight champion of a new generation. So I enjoyed the first 2 interviews we had with TJ. I know you enjoyed them immensely down at Wrestle House in Tampa.
The best.
The best, exactly. We talk about everything from why he has so much internet hate to working in the coronavirus professional wrestling in 2021, pigs. It's a very interesting interview. Very, very interesting interview. And with that said, tonight at 10, join us. And now I pass the baton to Mr. Carter. It is time for WWE NXT.
Tuesday night NXT May 4th, 2021 edition. We started it off with the Falls Count Anywhere match between Leon Ruff and Isaiah Swerve Scott. Violent match. It was all over the building. It was kind of long, but there was lots of action in it. I actually really enjoyed it. We always talk about Leon being under the small size. He actually looked really good in this match. It didn't look bad. You know what I mean? These two guys have a good battle going on. I actually enjoyed the match a lot. Swerve Scott ended up winning by pinfall, but you know what? You got to give it to Ruff being able to hang in there and actually look more than just an enhancement talent in this match. I really enjoyed it. What did you think?
I don't like Leon Ruff. I think he's an embarrassment. I think you can have one, but they have 2 where they have Drake Maverick at the same time. Not a bad outing from him. I think Swerve Scott has superstar written all over him. I like that he's got a little posse now. I thought it was well executed. Great way to open the show.
Absolutely. I totally agree with Swerve Scott. Definitely. Like, I'm not saying Leon Ruff's going to be a superstar. I was just saying he looked good in this match, but I get where you're coming from with him as well. But yeah, Swerve Scott, a lot of potential, definitely can be a star. From there, they show Finn Balor arriving to the building, I guess, earlier in the day because it was light out. So I'm guessing that was an earlier shot in the day. So Finn's going to be on the show at some point. From there, we go backstage. We have Gargano and Austin Theory looking for Regal. They walk in his office, and Scarlett Bordeaux is sitting there, and he says, "Not right now, I'm busy." Theory does a little funny thing by saying those are the biggest things in nails I've ever seen, because he's trying to go by, like he's looking down at her, obviously her boobs or her breast, whatever you want to call them. And he basically talks about the news. I just, to me, I don't like this vision. I know it was a funny little thing, but Theory should be built like this. Me and you both agree that guy is a superstar, could headline Mania some year. Who knows? But this is just got to go, I think.
Well, like I said, every time we do a review show where Gargano is so heavily featured, it's just about every week. It's an embarrassment to him for a guy that was so over, one of the top superstars of the NXT brand. Where that will lead to in Raw, SmackDown, if they ever bring him to one of those brands, I don't know. I think it would be a very risky move. I think turning him into an idiot in NXT certainly makes that job even harder if you do bring him up to one of the main brands.
Oh, I love it. You turn him into an idiot. I love it. From there, we get Asher Hill versus Cameron Grimes. Asher Hill was in Evolve, but his new name is Asher Hill. He's, I guess, an enhancement talent right now as we're looking. Asher Hill, he looks good in the ring. Definitely, I've seen him work in Evolve before, so he is definitely a good worker. Good match. Lots of potential in Asher Hill, like I said. Cameron Grimes ended up getting the win by pinfall. Quick, easy, simple match. Just putting Cameron Grimes, because right now they feel like they're building to him to do something, obviously, with Ted DiBiase. I don't know with what, but he's obviously part of the show. He's got a name stay on the show now. What did you think of the match?
Yeah, it was just kind of there, I guess.
Besides of what you think of Cameron Grimes, it wasn't a bad match, right?
Fine little enhancement match.
That's the way I look at it. Exactly, yeah. From there, we're backstage. Caden and Casey Canizero are backstage talking about the tag title match, talking about how they want to get it back. Frankie Monet shows up and calls them cute that they want a tag team title match, and they're talking about the tag team titles. I don't know why they're building her up like this. Let's get her in the ring. Unless she can't wrestle yet, I don't know. Let's get her in the ring, because all these promos aren't going to do her any justice. They make her look kind of stupid, honestly. Let's get her in the ring and show people what she can do. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, that's how I feel, at least.
You can only go so far. Yeah, no, in particular, either way, not especially. But you know what? I think it's time to showcase the actual skill or lack of skill. I guess that remains to be seen.
Right, because they do the same. Zoe Stark. They don't even give her anything. They just throw her in and she's wrestling. Like they do the opposite. I don't. It's just weird. I mean, but hey, maybe they're going to do something special with her. Who knows? From there, we're backstage. Cameron Grimes says he's going to the club. Everrise shows up and says they want to be part of going to the club. They want to be on his side, everything. And he says, "There's no time for you guys. It's me, myself, and Cameron Grimes." So I don't know what they're doing with them. They're seem like they have their own little spot on the show every week doing something silly. I don't know about them. What do you think? Exactly.
Well, I'm not going to rewind the DVR. Let me put it like that.
What do you think, Everrise? Just an enhancement talent, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I'm a big fan of tag team wrestling. I love I like good tag team wrestling, and I just don't really see much of anything in Everrise. Like I said, I think Everrise needs a little Viagra to rise. I don't know.
There you go, a little shot, right? From there, we have Grizzly Young Vets coming down to the ring. They cut a promo before their match. They are a gift to the NXT universe, and basically tell everyone to sit down and zip it. This is a trash country. I can't wait to get back home. Talking all that smack. You know how it is. We end up getting the match. Grizzly Young Vets versus Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. Hard-hitting, true wrestling match. If you're a wrestling fan, this was a great match. Two great teams. I think both these teams definitely have a shot on the main roster if they build them like that. I think Tommaso would be better if he's in a team than if he was just brought up on the main roster. What do you think about that? Do you think Tommaso could be by himself, or would he be better on a team?
On the main roster, I think they'd kill Tommaso as a single.
Right,
I
exactly.
really do. I hate to say it, but I think that would be his fate. As a tag team, you know how they treat tag teams in WWE, but right now, where there is such a lack of them, you know, it might be a good time. I don't know. In my wrestling brain, I think this is going to lead to an eventual turn in a continuation of Tommaso and Thatcher later in 2021. But, you know, maybe that is the way to go. As I noted before, I hate to say it, but and a current WWE talent agreed with me. The best thing that ever happened to Tommaso was when he broke his neck, when they brought up him, Gargano, Ricochet, and Aleister Black, all at the same time in early 2019.
Right.
They kept Ricochet and Aleister Black on the main roster. They sent Gargano back to NXT while Tommaso recovered from neck surgery. We've seen what's happened with Ricochet, unfortunately. And Aleister Black, you know, he was waiting for a long time for someone to knock on that door to fight him, and I guess the door closed. At least they're attempting some new vignettes to try and do something with a man with a heck of a lot of talent. But, you know, I thought he was super over in his coffin presentation, but apparently some in WWE did not. I just think it's a great waste of talent in both Aleister and Ricochet, and I would not want to see the same happen to Ciampa, especially where he has his MWF background.
There you go, right on. Yeah, with Aleister Black, I totally agree. I don't know what they're gonna build, what his entrance is gonna be like. I don't know. I can't tell by the vignettes they've been doing for him, but hopefully it's as good as it was, like you just said, when he did the coffin rise and everything like that. I thought that was a pretty good visual. I hope they do something that's really cool for him, because it seems like they're building to something for him to have a story in the, you know what I mean, in actual main roster stuff. From there, we had lots of holds in the match. Ciampa is in phenomenal shape. I don't know if you noticed that, but he is.
He is. I don't know what kind of workout he's doing, but my God, he is.
Thing that we're talking about, the cement factory, man, he's just been training his butt off. Great. Back and forth match. Thatcher ended up hitting Gibson with the shoe. I guess it was supposed to be Wade Barrett's shoe. I don't know, but they hit him with the shoe. Yeah, he hit him with the shoe, which leads Thatcher winning by submission. I don't know. I thought it was a great match. Like we were saying, I would love to see these teams. There are so many teams in NXT that they could be brought up to main roster, because like we said, the main roster is so short on tag teams. I just don't want them to get lost on the main roster either.
Hope not. Grizzled young veterans, I think they have a more difficult climb, even though they're I'd say the more steady of the team. Right, because of the accent. I mean, there's only so many British guys as of the current structure of power in WWE. There's only so many British guys they're going to have at one time. There's only, like the Japanese, there's only so many Japanese guys they're going to have. As we saw with Kalisto's release and Andrade's release, there's only so many Spanish or Mexican superstars they're going to have at one time. So it makes it a little bit more of a challenge. The grizzled young vets, I like just about everything about them other than the name. I think the name is kind of goofy.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, because obviously it's a little different. It's out there. From there, we're backstage. Gargano and Dario are ready to bust Regal's door down. They go right up to it, but then they just they're like, all right, let's just knock. Knock's probably a better idea. So they knock. Regal actually comes walking over. Gargano complaining about his title match against Bronson Reed. And then Regal also says Derry will face Karrion Kross next week. So we get a match for next week, which is cool. Gargano complaining about fighting for his title against Bronson Reed. He doesn't think it. I don't like this version. We talk about it every single week over and over, but it's true. I don't like this version of Gargano. I think he was better, 2 years ago? What, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago? That version was a lot better.
The one that was main eventing and was beloved by the fan base. That's exactly the one to go with.
Yeah, exactly.
I know right now, fans and selling tickets.
And the thing is, I was just going to say, we don't even know how fans are going to react to this, because they haven't been in the building really since when? A year and a half ago?
Right.
So who knows? From there, we're backstage. We see Isaiah Swerve Scott with his crew backstage. Says he told you I would beat Ruff tonight, and that's what Swerve did. So, and he talks in third person. Do you like that? I notice he does a lot of his promos like that.
I like everything about the presentation. I think his only problem is the unfortunate fact of Mother Nature. They made him a certain size, and I think that, again, he's only going to be able to go so far. I think Tommaso, again, one of the elite talents in professional wrestling in any promotion, but ... they're only going to go so far with a guy of that size. Hate to say it, but I mean, not only height-wise, but he's not thick. You know what I mean? There's nothing about him that says superstar. As far as Swerve goes, he's got something about him that says superstar. You know what I mean? There's more pizzazz to him. There's more color to him. Where Tommaso almost is kind of like the NXT Austin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't see the NXT version of Austin working on one of the two main roster shows, if that makes any sense. And I love Tommaso. I'm not trying to knock him.
No, that's a great way to put it. I totally agree with you. From there, we have Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux coming down to the ring. What an entrance. That is a phenomenal entrance. I can't wait to see that one day at WrestleMania, what they do.
It's going to be really cool.
Yeah, that's an awesome entrance. Kross gets on the mic, says he made things crystal clear. He's not afraid of anyone, and he wants to fight. Austin Theory, I'm going to leave you unconscious, he tells. Kyle O'Reilly comes out, which I just got to say, I love this version of Kyle. I think we've already said it, but this is fantastic. I just love how it's the no-nonsense, just acting like, he doesn't need anybody now. His music fits him well. I think it's a great presentation. Kyle says, I get it, Kross, why everyone should be afraid of you. You're dominant, but I'm not afraid of you. This is the match you want. Pete Dunne comes out, says you're both having a great laugh, basically, because they're talking and crap, whatever. That's a British or what's he? He's a United, right?
I believe he's from England as well.
Yeah. Okay. Laugh. Doesn't care about the match. About Kyle O'Reilly or Karrion Kross both fighting. He says, the truth is, I'm the baddest man in NXT. Prove me wrong. And then Finn Balor comes out, so we get the returning of Finn Balor. Finn says, Pete Dunne, Kyle O'Reilly, been there, done that. Then Kross and him exchange blows, and they all stop brawling all over the ring. Kross slams a security official. Gargano and Theory end up attacking Kross from the backside. But Kross still gets the upper hand until Gargano and Theory are just too much for him. They leave him laying. I guess it's to build up the match next week. I don't know. What did you think of the segment? I thought it was actually...
Yeah, the only thing I really didn't like about the segment was I didn't like the way Kyle O'Reilly was dressed. You know what I mean?
You don't like that?
It wasn't a serious-looking presentation. They kind of make him look goofy.
More professional. I know what you mean. I don't mind it because, to me, that's fits his personality, so he's trying to be his personality, but I get what you're saying. It just doesn't look professional. It doesn't look like a killer.
It didn't look like a wrestler.
Right, and that was my next word. I was going to say he doesn't look like a wrestler. He doesn't fit that description, which, you know what? Maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe when there's fans in the building, they'll relate to him. I don't know. It's hard to tell right now. I know you're from the old school, so I get what you're saying, but to me, I got to see the fans' reaction too, because I can relate to somebody like that because that's like my age kind of guy. And he's your age too, but you're more in the 80s like that. I know what you mean.
No, I've got to have probably at least, I would say, 7 or 8 years on Kyle O'Reilly. How old is he?
I'm pretty sure he's 34.
Is he that old? Well, I mean, that's still 6 years. I mean, I wouldn't compare him to, who knows? Maybe you're right. But, regardless, I wouldn't dress like that.
I know you wouldn't, but a lot of my friends do. Your buddy Brian Coyle. That's exactly how he
Coyle likes the presentation. Well, as long as Coyle's happy, I guess I cannot be upset if Brian Coyle likes the Kyle O'Reilly dress factor.
Yeah, well, he dresses like that. That's why he dresses. It's so
even
funny.
With the hat.
Not the hat, but everything else. Yes, the flannel shirt, the what are they? The Chuck Taylor shoes, all that stuff. Oh yeah.
I'm actually looking on my phone right now to see. You were right. Yeah, 34 years old. His birthday was March the 1st, so a belated birthday to Kyle. And we wish him great success in the year ahead. Yeah, but I mean, as far as the pairing of these four goes, oh my God, I think you could create a great little program with that to go on, all spring into the summer with the various singles matches you could have. I still don't know the date of the next NXT TakeOver, but to try and get to that destination, the singles, like I said, the frustration that I had with the Lashley and the Braun and McIntyre program they have in WWE. But, you could take some of my suggestions on how I would have made that little three-way battle better and maybe incorporate it into Finn, Dunn, and O'Reilly to see who's ultimately going to get Kross when it comes to the TakeOver show. I hope they don't go the route of another pay-per-view with another multi-man match. I think we've had enough of those recently. We had them at WrestleMania. We're going to have them at WrestleMania Backlash. I like the singles route when it comes to pay-per-views. I think that's what it generates the most interest, is that one-on-one spirit and heat of competition. And I think you could get creative as to see which one of those three is the one that gets that battle.
Yeah, I totally agree. I can't wait. I hope they do what you're saying, build it through the spring and summer, because, like you said, there is so much potential in this. It could be really, really good.
Well, I tell you this, I gave that segment a big thumbs up, and we asked the great fans watching at home if they're enjoying this program right now, this wonderful NXT review. Help the cause. We noted April was a rough month for us as we tried to produce a whole summer's worth of great content for you. Give the video a big thumbs up. It costs you absolutely nothing. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Again, you get access to over 2,000 videos absolutely free. Doing those things, the thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, it lets YouTube know you're engaging with us. It lets YouTube know you like us, and therefore they will showcase our video to new fans that may not know we exist. We are humble enough people, Mr. Dave Carter and I, to realize there are millions and millions of fans, especially lapsed fans from the 80s and 90s, that long ago said bye-bye to sports entertainment, that may love our content. So let's get the word out. Again, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share the links across social media, especially the shoot interview talk shows we have on Wrestling Insiders. There are a lot of fans that will absolutely love those once they find them. Again, look at the growth we've had, whether you use Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Facebook wrestling groups, you can email wrestling websites. Let them know what we got cooking here in Boston Wrestling. Again, I truly believe they'll absolutely love what they will find when they come to Boston Wrestling MWF. With that cheap plug out of the way, I pass the baton back to Mr. Carter.
That's right. And we're backstage. We see Austin Theory and Johnny Gargano leaving the building. They jump in their car and basically take off. They say Candice and Indy don't need them. They got this tonight. So obviously they're leaving before Kross can get to them, to maybe attack them or whatever. Right. From there, we get Zeta versus Saray.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good match. I know you really don't care about women's wrestling, but this was a really good match. Both are very good. Saray ends up winning by pinfall. Quick match. Probably didn't bother you there. I know you like the quicker the better for you. What did you think of the match?
You know what? I don't have anything to really knock about it other than the fact that it's not something I really enjoy.
There you go.
There wasn't a bad match. They tried hard. Yeah. I wish the women had their own show to showcase themselves on.
You've seen what Mick Foley said, right? He tweeted to Vince McMahon and said the women all need to have their own brand. Do it now.
Yeah.
AEW does. I thought you would like that because I know you always talk about it.
Did you read the I came across it must have been on Twitter, the interview that Mickie James did about her trash bag incident?
No,
where you didn't know? Well, you know what? It kind of, no pun intended with Austin Theory, but proved my theory correct, where Mickie, much like myself, pushed for WWE to come up with an all-women's brand, and they told her that Evolution was the worst drawing pay-per-view of all time, the least watched pay-per-view all time, and the women make them no money. So that
pretty much they're giving the tickets for free. Remember we looked, they were like
they were like $3 you could get into the Evolution pay-per-view just so they could say they filled the building.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So for all the people out there that knock me or don't like what I say about women's wrestling, as far as Mickey's conversation with that very high-ranking WWE official went, you know what? It kind of proved my theory correct. If there was money to be made off of it, I think WWE would be doing it. I think they push the women the way they do right now. One, they have a lot of time they have to fill, and they have a very small roster to do it with. And two, it's very PC, and they're a publicly traded company. To be able to say that they're pushing the women and giving the women all this rub and love and attention and so on and so forth, you know what? Corporately, I think they think they make themselves look good. It's not my cup of tea. I don't agree with it. I wouldn't do it because I think it's turned off more fans than it's turned on. If you look at Raw's rating, the week they introduced Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha, when they said we're going to give divas a chance, The rating is about half of what they do now, and that's not to put the entire blame on the ladies, but again, almost half the fan base of Raw has eroded and vanished into thin air. Can you say the women have done anything to help?
No, obviously not.
Well, there you go.
That's common sense. Obviously not. I would never argue with you on that point. I think honestly, you're getting at something when you say they should have their own brand or their own show or whatever it is. I think that's a good idea, because then, you know what, like you said, the people that love that can tune into that, and the people that don't care for that don't have to worry about being on a Raw or a SmackDown.
They can go back to having the Raw and SmackDown they used to love, but then again, with what's left of the fan base, who knows if there's any of those fans from that time period left?
That is true too. That is true. Going backstage again, we have Imperium watching on an iPad. They're watching Walter speak in a foreign language. Obviously, we don't know what he's saying, but he's speaking. It's almost like it was weird, because it looked like it was, I don't know, what would you call that vision? Like the way he was speaking to him. I don't know if he was upset with them, giving them some talk. I don't know what it was.
I think he's just a stern individual to begin with.
Okay, so yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, that's true too. I really like Walter. What did you think of this? This is kind of different.
It was a fine little segment.
Yeah. We forgot that last week. We obviously didn't get a chance to do a review, but this guy, they've been doing things called Diamond Mine. He's going to be, well, I shouldn't even say he, because I don't know what it is. Is it going to be a tag team? Is it a group? I don't know. Do you know anything about it?
Maybe it's DDP. Maybe they're going to do a little yoga.
I read that. That's so funny you say that. I read some. Is this DDP trying to get some NXT time? But obviously it's not.
No.
Do you have any idea what it is?
I have not been heard or been told anything about it. I know nothing about it other than
Me either.
what little teases we've seen on NXT.
Yeah, I wanted to try to dig into it, but then I'm like, you know what? I want it to be kind of like a surprise, because maybe it means something. Who knows? I didn't want to try to dig into it too much. From there, we're backstage. Tony Storm and Zoe Stark are eye to eye backstage, looking at each other. They don't actually fight or brawl or anything like that, which was kind of cool. I know, again, you probably didn't really think much of it, but whatever. It was a little thing. From there, we're back in the ring. We got Jake Atlas versus LA Knight. LA Knight cuts a promo coming down to the ring. Basically, he says he's going to punt Atlas as all the way down the street and gonna need an Atlas to find it. Kind of a funny little little thing. You know,
it was a good
cool.
little pun. Yeah.
Yep. It was a quick match, which I thought it should be. LA Knight won by pinfall. I'm glad he's building up. Maybe now that he lost to Bronson Reed, now this is the build up for him. Maybe some of these, you know how we say matches to get him over, where he can keep on winning and it doesn't hurt anybody that he's beating. I like this. I just see a lot in LA Knight. I don't know how you feel about him now that you've seen him about a month.
Well, I think everything they've done right now was backwards. I think he should have had a string of wins before he had his first loss on television, as I've noted in the past. You can't rewrite history. I mean, again, you're taking a guy that's not as hot as he was because he lost and trying to, almost start from scratch. Jake Atlas, I think, is a fine talent. I wouldn't have him lose constantly, which he pretty much seems to do. But I guess that made it a better win for LA Knight. He has good personality. You know who he kind of reminds me of? And Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really a big Mr. Kennedy guy either, but maybe that's why I'm not so into him yet. But we'll see as time goes on. I mean, I don't think it's a bad presentation. He's just not someone, again, that I'd go out of my way to watch.
And go figure, Mr. Kennedy was one of my favorites when he was in WWE. So that's funny. We both different on both those.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you like both of them, and I'm really not a fan of either one of them.
Exactly. We're backstage. Indy and Candice are in the locker room talking about being tag team champions again. You see Loomis in the background through a door, like through blinds. Candice notices and shuts the blinds and says, "Don't think about the boys tonight or the guys or whatever she was saying. Don't think about them tonight. Keep your head in the game." So then that's it. They grab their costumes or their gear or whatever you want to call it and head down to the ring. Then we come back. We have Tony Storm pissed off at Zoe Stark. Doesn't deserve to be in the same place as me, she says. You're a future nobody. Everybody is going to forget about you. I brought you into this business, and I'm going to take you out. So I don't know. I didn't know she had anything to do with Zoe Stark. Did you know that? I had no idea.
No, I really wasn't familiar with their...
Me either. I wish they would have stated something about that even, but Whatever.
Oh, big mystery revealed.
Right on. We come back. We go to commercial after that. We come back, and Santos Escobar, Joaquin Wilde, and Raul Mendoza are in the ring. Love these guys. We always talk about them. Santos says you have to watch him become the undisputed best luchador. That's what happened. You all witnessed a proclamation last week. What does that word mean?
Proclamation, like an announcement.
Okay, because I was just making sure, because that's what I thought, but I'm like, he will get the Cruiserweight title back. Wilde gets on the mic and tells MSK they will get the tag team titles back. They embarrassed MSK last week. Raul Mendoza challenges MSK for the tag team titles. Basically, they all got a chance to speak, which I guess what it is. Santos gets back on the mic and says they're brothers. Kushida ends up appearing on the screen and says, what you did to me last week was a mistake. Next week, me and you for the Cruiserweight title, which is great. We end up finding out, we can say it now, it's going to be a 2 out of 3 falls title match, which is going to be fantastic. You know it will be. I'm actually very excited for the match. What did you think of the promo?
Promo itself was fine. I mean, you're not talking about heat like the Hart Foundation in 1997, but you know what?
No.
For what they are, it was good. You know, I've said before, I'd love to see Wilde be repackaged back to DJZ. I think it had a lot more color, a lot more personality. I think it would have a lot more mileage on the main roster than this faction would, as
Absolutely.
is right now on Raw and SmackDown. But for the presentation as we're getting it right now, pretty good. As far as the Kushida-Escobar match next week, 2 out of 3 falls. I am in heaven. That is the type of professional wrestling I love to see. I am actually very, very, very interested to see next week's NXT. And you know, it takes a lot to kind of hype me up to see a wrestling show in 2021 where there is so much of it. And a lot of the times is a lack of interesting material. But next week's NXT, I am very excited to see this 2 out of 3 falls match. They popped me.
That makes 2 of us. Look at that. We're agreeing here. Look at this. We're excited for NXT. This is good stuff. Then we get Raquel and Mercedes, I guess, via satellite. I don't know what you would call it. That's what I called it. Raquel says she's the baddest woman in the division. Mercedes says you should respect me, and I'm hungry. I'm hungry for the title. You don't intimidate me, she says. She basically says you're the cookie cutter. You're a cookie cutter champion, and that I've worked my butt off pretty much the whole time, through the indies, through the grind, and I deserve that title. So they're basically building up to something. Obviously, Raquel, more or less, is going to end up winning this, but at least they're building to a little story for this, I guess. I don't know. What did you feel about the promo?
Nothing that held my attention or interest. I like Mercedes Martinez an awful lot. Factoid. As we continue to get ready to celebrate 20 years of Boston wrestling in the MWF. Mercedes took part in our superstar Billy Graham benefit back in October of 2002 in Wakefield, Massachusetts, where we tried to help out Billy Graham when he was near death before he had his liver transplant. She spent money out of her own pocket to rent a car to come up for no pay to take part in the benefit, so I have an awful lot of respect for her. A very nice human being, and another factoid, Dave, that you may be impressed by, that was the first and only women's main event in MWF history as she took on Velvet Sky, also known as the lovely, she was Talia then, and she went on to become the lovely Velvet Sky. So there you go. We had a women's main event in October of 2002.
Look at you. You were ahead of the curve.
Let me tell you, you know what? Sometimes I look at the things I've done and I am surprised at them. We've had a lot of interesting history in this great company over 20 years, and I'll never forget that was the first appearance of New Jack in the MWF, and he tore apart that building and in a wild, bloody brawl, and but I'll say this, I like New Jack. For those that...
What building was that?
That was the AmeriCal Civic Center in Wakefield, Massachusetts, which is on Main Street, the same street as the studio, probably about 3-4 miles up the road.
Okay.
Just going in the opposite direction as you would if we were going towards Marty Hill.
Is that building still there?
It is, but they redid the floor, and they aren't anxious to host the King of Sports at this point.
Okay.
But with the amount of bookings they've lost over the past year and a half, who knows? There might be a lot of venues that are willing to bend over backwards to have the venues rented out to try and recoup some of the money they've lost.
Oh, yeah, and for a lot cheaper than usual,
Right,
which
yeah.
is great. From there, we see Ember and Shotzi walking towards their, I guess, the tank, and the dog's in it, Frankie Monet's dog. I guess the dog took a big crap on the front seat or whatever. It's stunk. They don't want to take it. They're not taking the tank. So then we get out of there. We get this segment, Cameron Grimes walking up the sidewalk, heading to the club, trying to get in the club, and they tell him the whole club's been reserved. He says, but I'm VIP. And they said, it doesn't matter. It's been reserved. Then we see a big stretch limousine come out, and guess who it is? My favorite wrestler back in the 80s, Mr. $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, shows up. I love this. I just love Ted DiBiase being on TV because you know that. I've told you this a million times. He's my favorite. So I was pumped to see him getting involved. I don't know what this is going to lead to, but I loved it.
I love Ted DiBiase, the professional wrestler. I love Ted DiBiase, the person. He's a good human being. I think the world of Ted. I hope we can get Ted in the studio sometime. I think he would be absolutely fantastic to share his stories. As far as his involvement on NXT, I think it kind of fit. I think it kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I think it kind of undercut what they're trying to do with Grimes, where he is what he is, and Ted DiBiase is one of the all-time greats in company history. To make him kind of look beneath Ted, I don't think exactly was a great idea. Then again, where they kind of present him as a goof, maybe it was the perfect fit. I don't know. But I thought where both of them right now are money people, I thought it was kind of a fun interaction. I'm glad they did it.
Right on. I was too. I was very happy with that. From there, like we just said, we find out the Cruiserweight match will be a 2 out of 3 falls. And then we get the NXT Women's Tag Title, the Women's Tag Team Title match, which is Indy Hartwell, Candice LeRae versus Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. The weapons are involved in this match heavily. Pretty good match. The woman did put it on the line in this. I know I can't wait to hear what you say about it, but for me, I think they put it on the line. Shotzi had jumped off, I don't know, what would you call that? Structure, a big tall pole, but it was like a structure kind of pole.
It's like one of those poles we have behind us on the set.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I just put a poll onto Indy through the announce table. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. At the end of the match, them going back and forth. We have new tag team champions, Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. They end up pinning and beating Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. I thought it was a really good match. What did you think of it?
You know what? I cannot fault hard work. I cannot fault effort. Even though I thought there was way too much female interaction on this one show. I tip my cap to the 4 of them for going balls to the wall. I continue to believe that there aren't enough fans that care. There are not enough teams to have another female tag team championship that no one cares about, like the main brand women's tag team championship that no one cares about. And for a championship that is relatively new to NXT, how many times has it changed hands? Now, what do we have? Three sets of champions in just a little over a month?
Yep.
That's too much.
Yep.
Too much.
Absolutely.
So that's my faults with it. But again, great effort by those ladies. And it's worth noting that we have some great signed memorabilia by some of these fine ladies in the eBay store. The coronavirus may have killed the nightlife, but on the eBay Boston Wrestling MWF store is open 24/7. It's called Memories and Legends. We have so much great NXT memorabilia thanks to our dear friends at WWE and even down in Orlando itself. And it helps the cause greatly. Your purchase not only gives you a great wrestling collectible for your collection, but it helps us keep Wrestling Legends working. It helps us produce more great in-studio shoot interviews for you. And you get an on-air shout-out from one of our superstars as our thanks to you. So it's cool all around. Head on over to eBay. Again, you can find the link on bostonwrestling.com. You just hit the button that says store. Or if you're watching on YouTube, just find the link in the description box below.
Right on. I graded this NXT, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. There was a few too many women segments. That's why it was a little bit lower. But if they didn't have that and all the promo stuff, I really enjoyed the show. What did you think of it?
We almost tied again. But I was borderline. I was going 6-7, 6-7, 6-7. There were just too many women segments that where my attention would drift. So I went with the 6. It was a good wrestling TV show all around.
It wasn't.
There was just too many women interactions for a 2-hour show, in my opinion. My humble opinion.
Speaking of that, I got one piece of news that has to do with a woman.
Well,
I don't know about it.
What is it?
It's the rumors are that Tessa Blanchard is going to be coming to WWE NXT, and that might be who is Diamond Mine. That might be her name in NXT.
It wouldn't be a bad idea, but I wouldn't touch Tessa Blanchard the way she disrespected Impact Wrestling with their championship.
Right on. I can't believe, honestly, because of Tully being in AEW, figure she would go there, right?
Look at all the relationships that are on different brands nowadays. I don't think that
You've
means
seen
all
her
that
work,
much.
though, right?
Yeah.
She's good. She is good. That's
why
I
I just don't think much of the human being. I said I don't think much of the human being unless there's more to the story that I know.
Yeah. Oh, I know what you're saying. I was just going basically off of her work. If it was somebody that couldn't, I wouldn't even brought it up because I know you would have been like, oh, wow, big. But I think she can really go. And I thought you thought she was pretty good too. So that's why I wanted to bring
As far as a wrestling presentation goes, I think she'd be a good addition to the roster. But you know what? It's like what Jim Ross would say during my long 9-month stint working with Ed Cohen at the WWF. You know what? They want to have good human beings on the roster too. And someone that would try and hold a company up for money like that to drop the title after they basically tried to reinvent the wheel and build the company around her beating men. I thought that was so disrespectful.
Yeah.
But, that's just my opinion.
You could have a good story with her, though, too, with her and Charlotte because of the fathers.
That would be kind of fun.
I think they could have something there. I just don't know how they would talk about Tully with him being in AEW. You know what I mean? But I just always thought about that when she was in Impact, too. Like, you could really tell a good story between them, too. But
yeah, it's too bad. Again, there could be more to the situation that meets the eye. Maybe Impact Wrestling owed her money. They were behind on it. That's happened. But I haven't heard of it happening recently, but in the past, that's been an issue. But unless there's more than meets the eye to that story, I think that's a lousy, very unprofessional thing to do, and I wouldn't touch her.
Oh, right on. I don't disagree with you at all. I totally agree. But that's all the news and notes I got.
All right, wrestling fans. Well, you heard it from Mr. Carter himself. Don't forget, if you enjoyed tonight's show and you want to keep them rolling, the Super Chat button is open for business. That little gray $ symbol, hit it. Every dollar counts. You can get a tip of $1, $2, $5, $10, $50, $100, $1,000, $2,000. We'll take anything we can get because we have an expensive weekend coming up when the Hardcore Icon New Jack joins us live in studio. Again, for more information on that, head on over to bostonwrestling.com. Again, tonight at 10 p.m., it is Wrestling Insider Special Edition. We're joined by former WWE NXT Cruiserweight Champion TJP. Interesting that we have TJ tonight as we're talking about the big Escobar-Kushida match next week on NXT. So kind of an interesting little fit.
That's right. Absolutely. Can't wait.
All right. For my partner in crime, Dave Carter, I'm Dan Mirade. We'll see you at 10 o'clock with TJP. The World Wrestling Federation was live at the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, New York, Wednesday, May the 5th, 1982. In the opening contest, Frank Williams beat Mac Rivera. Lee Wong with the win over Tony Altamore via disqualification. WWF Tag Team Champion Mr. Saito defeated Tony Gurria. Pat Patterson victorious over Jesse the Body Ventura. And in the main event, the WWF Intercontinental Champion Pedro Morales retained the title over WWF Tag Team Champion Mr. Fuji. If you were in Long Island live, share your memories in the comment section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our acclaimed Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston wrestling sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
Wrestling fans, I'm Dan Mirade.
And this is the man of the hour, Leo Rush.
It was all over BostonWrestling.com and our social media. But Leo, brother, they got to check out some of this merch.
They got to.
Check it out, fans, right now available on eBay.
The Undisputed Era kicked ass and took no prisoners in WWE NXT. Now you can own this limited edition collector's autographed art print personally signed by Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish. Also signed by the original artist, Rob Schamberger, one of only 50 made direct from our friends at WWE. Help keep wrestling legends working. Get this awesome collectible for your collection now.